Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Shockwave Radio 7. This is your host Ahmed Al-Basiri, and I'm here with Mr. Ibrahim Khayyat. He is one of the 3 new elected class representatives of Junior Cycle. Hello, Mr. Ibrahim.
Hi there, how are you?
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to have you here. So, would you please introduce us to yourself?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, my name is Ibrahim Khayyat. I'm currently a first-year medical student, and I'm coming from Saudi Arabia, from my lovely city, Jeddah.
Nice. So, Mr. Ibrahim, you recently had a meeting with the Junior Cycle Council. So tell us more about the meeting. What were the outcomes?
Oh yeah, sure. Now, that meeting was a surprise to us because the day we were elected, then the second day told us, okay, you have a meeting tomorrow. It was really a surprise to us.
Yeah.
We weren't prepared for that.
It's a new thing for you.
Well, it is a new thing, and the other thing is that we did not have time to meet the students and ask about their complaints.
Yes.
So we had no time at all.
Yeah.
So it came all of a sudden. Anyway, so the next day we went to the meeting, and it was in the second floor. The hall is really really good, and all the instruments in there are state of the art. And the thing is, the meeting started normally, and there were all the professors of junior cycles.
Yeah. So everyone from each module, each professor of each module,
yes,
they were there.
Yes, even professors of JC1. So
yes.
some of them we don't know.
Awesome.
Okay, and then the chair of the whole meeting was Dr. Clappy. Okay, so we started the meeting, and then at the end, they turned to the class reps. At the meeting, there were the class reps of Junior Cycle 1 and 3 present at the meeting, and the staff of Bahrain were as well live with us.
Yeah, so that's like a video conference.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're starting the meeting, and then when he turned to us, okay, after the professors were discussing their matters, their issues, and then he turned to us and asked about what we have. Anyway, so when my turn came, I started speaking about 2 major problems that students told me about. Now, and it was interesting because the first one was really, I spoke about the problem that we face in the anatomy room with the demonstrators. Yeah. How that everyone has his own style and his own way of teaching, and that at the end of the class you might have got a chance to dissect, you might have not. You might have got all the information required, you might have not. So it varies.
Yeah, so it's unfair for some students.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I told him, why don't you have a guideline that all the demonstrators would follow?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was my point basically. And then so his answer to me was that first of all, it is difficult to have a guideline to them because they're all experts. They've been teaching or working for over 40 years, something. Yeah. And so it's really, really difficult to have them to follow certain guidelines. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing he told me about is that, at the end of the year, you've seen how they rotate every week. Yeah. So basically, they told me that at the end of the year, all the students would be equal. Yeah. Yeah. So then I told him, when the time of the first card signing and the second card signing comes, we won't be equal. So and that's what I'm looking for. Yes. And he told me, well, then at the time, you see, you have to know that, okay, you are correct. This is the only thing. This matter is variable, and it differs from one demonstrator to another. However, you have the modules, you have the slides, you have Monkhouse, you have links on Moodle, you have you have the videos on Moodle as well. Yeah. So all these are constant and they won't change, and they're all the same to everyone.
So all the resources are
the same,
exactly.
And and the same. Yeah, exactly, everyone. Yeah. So if that's the only one, then it's a minor problem, and it's okay. Yeah. And then that's basically what was it. And so I really could not argue after that because I understood that then it's really difficult to change that. So I moved on to the second point, and that's an important point. Although it doesn't concern all the students, but it concerns half of them. That's Group B problem. Basically, a few students came to me the day before, and they told me that, okay, so this time, we had our card signing on Friday, and then on Thursday and Tuesday, so we'd have the quiz.
Yeah.
Okay. And so basically, first of all, Group B would have more lectures for the car signing, and they wouldn't have enough time to study for the quiz.
Yeah.
They would have only the weekend. And that's not the problem only, because even the second card signing would be the same problem. We'd have more lectures for card signing, and the following Monday is going to be another quiz. So it's the same thing happening again. So I told them about that, and I brought that problem to their attention. So the first thing he told me is that he asked me, "You have monk house?" I said, "Yes." Well, he told me, "Well, you probably have seen what he wrote, at the beginning of the book, which is life is unfair, so you have to deal with it." Yeah. So that was his first response. But then I kept talking to him. I told him, "Why you don't have why don't you have the card signing at the same day with Group A? It's only 1 hour. Why don't you have it all the same day?" He told me that it's really difficult to schedule that hour for Group B, because from 3 o'clock and afterwards is basically a time allocated for postgraduate students. Okay. So it's really difficult to use that time. And he told me that how basically I should not complain about card signing, because before, like about 10 years ago, card signing used to be every week.
Okay. So
and then and then it became twice a week. Once every 2 weeks. Yeah. And now it's only 3 times, and the whole semester. So he told me that's much easier to. Yeah. And then he came to the point that even for the quiz, it's not as difficult as you might think. That's one thing, and that before that quiz used to be only, it had no mark. It used to be only to get used to that type of exams. But then the turn up to this exam was really few. Like they would have about 20 students or 40. That's it. So that's why they had to allocate some marks to it. And so that's why now we have, that's why it's the only purpose of that is so that we all attend, and to make sure that we keep on top of the work that we're studying. And then Dr. Ornathai talked to me and told me another thing that you have to be aware of is that you are third level students, and then you should be it should not matter if you have all the quizzes on one day or spread over a month. Yeah. That's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. And then when they told me all of that, I thought, that was the end of the discussion. And then when they told me all of that, many students came to me and they asked me to tell them about 8 o'clock classes in the morning, and they told me about canceling some classes for the Eid celebration. Yeah. And when I saw that type of arguments with them, I thought, oh no, that won't be helpful in there. It won't help me at all. Yeah. So I decided not to talk to them about this. And then that was the end of the meeting. And then we left the meeting. Yeah. But then what happened later on is that at about 4 o'clock, when I was leaving the college, I met Professor Kratli. Yeah. In the concourse. So he stopped me and he told me to come on. And he wanted to talk to me. Yeah. He asked about my name, and he told me, listen, first of all, for Group B, I told him again. I told him that the basic thing why I complain about Group B is that, or the complaint about Group B is that we're not having equal chances. We're not equal as Group A. Yeah. And that's the basic thing. That they have a week to study, and Group B wouldn't have the same time. Mm-hmm. And he told me then that, listen, you have to know that, in medicine, basically foundation year was a controlled environment. And as you progress, you'll see how this environment will be more and more uncontrolled until you get to medicine. And then, basically, when you're in a hospital, you can't decide when a patient can come to you. Mm-hmm. You can't tell him when he should be sick. Yeah. He will just come to you. So he told me you have to get used to it. Yeah. That's the first thing. And then he told me about something really, really important, and you all should be aware of this, which is about the MCQ we're having this coming Tuesday. Yeah. So he told me, okay, it's going to be 20 MCQs, 5 allocated for every module, 4 modules.
So 5 questions for each module?
Yes.
Okay. What is the percentage for each module?
as he said in the exam, okay, the percentage is 2.5, as I recall, that I'm not sure of that, but the percentage is 2.5 for each module, except for neuromuscular, it's like 1.75, because there's another 2.5 allocated for the car signing. So that's why it is less. And then what happened next is that he told me about how marks are allocated. It's not as we think, as it used to be in foundation year. So what happens is basically, if you're going to take the exam, so if you answer 60% of the exam correctly, okay, you get 60% of the mark. That mark will be allocated to all the 4 modules.
Yeah. So if you like answer like 15 questions, and maybe like you didn't answer the whole CDP. Yes. So like you won't get a 0, you'll get like 75.
Yes, even in CTV, even though you haven't answered any question,
yes,
you'll get the same mark as in 4 of them.
Yes.
On all the 4. Yes. Like yeah, he told me that the reasons basically exam office has better things to do. Yes.
Okay. So that was like the end of the talk between you and Professor
Yeah.
Khayyat.
Well, yeah. The last thing we talked about was that I told him that apparently in such meeting, it's not appropriate to raise up some of these some points which might not be as important as other points. And then he told me, yes, correct. But if you have any other points, such as the 8 a.m. classes, you can come directly to my office and talk to me about it. Yeah. And that's inshallah what I'm gonna do with that.
So like Professor Khayyat, he's like approachable, and yeah, like you can talk to him.
Yeah, he's really nice, and like he's really nice, and he'll be talking to you about everything. He'll tell you how the system works. It's not like he's hiding something. No, he'll tell you how everything works, and he's really honest. That's all. So that's it.
So I would like to thank you and your colleagues, Mr. Khayyat and Mr. Ibrahim, for raising our concerns to the council. Thank you very much, and we hope you continue to work hard for us.
Thank you.
Don't worry. Would you promise me that?
Yeah, sure. Don't worry. Next meeting. Next fight.
So thank you so much for coming to my show.
You're very welcome. Lovely.
I hope the students will benefit from it.
And I'm honored to be in the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm honored. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Shockwave Radio 7 with your host Ahmed Al-Basiri. Please tune in to the next show next week. So until then, peace out.
Bye-bye.